At least 11 other Indian prisoners are lodged in Pakistani jails who have not been released even after they've completed their sentences. There has been no word from Pakistani authorities on the fate of these incarcerated Indians. And New Delhi has repeatedly expressed concern over these prisoners in view of Pakistan's reluctance to part with information on them. Earlier, Pakistan did not respond to a note verbal sent by India's Foreign Ministry on December 11, seeking consular access to now released Hamid Nihal Ansari. A report also suggests there are over 470 Indian prisoners, including 418 fishermen, in Pakistani jails. Since 2014, 10 Indian fishermen and 2 Indian civil prisoners have died in the custody of Pakistan authorities. Joining us on the broadcast this evening is senior journalist from Pakistan, Ahmed Shaheen. Also joining us is strategic affairs analyst Sushant Sareen. Coming to you first, Sushant, a lot of questions remain unanswered. Now, the return of Ansari back home also reignites the hope for some of those Indian prisoners to return to Pakistan who've completed their jail sentence but are still languishing in Pakistani jails. But also the question of the manner in which this case of Hamid Nihal Ansari was handled. No transparency, of course, in the manner in which the court pronounced that judgment and charged him on espionage grounds, but also the manner in which 96 consular access requests were denied by Pakistan, even though it claimed that Ansari was a spy.
That's true, because, if you look at it, normally spies are disavowed. The moment a spy is caught, he is disavowed. Now, if a country admits a person to be their citizen and demands consular access, nowhere in the world is consular access denied, and as many times as happened in the case of Mr. Ansari. Now, in the case of Ansari, it is very clear that he was stupid, he wasn't a spy. He fell in love for whatever strange reason, but he wasn't involved in any kind of sabotage or any kind of nefarious activity. The Pakistanis would have known that, which is why it was sheer bloody-mindedness that after having kept him in custody for around 3 years without open trial, they finally tried him in a court, sentenced him to 3 years. Now, which other spy, if indeed he was a spy, which other spy is given just a 3-year sentence and then let off? If he was a spy, they would have paraded him around, they would have brought all sorts of other evidence against him and then literally let him be in prison for the rest of his life, as has happened in many other cases where people were finally released after 20, 30 years of incarceration. So in his case, it was very clearly bloody-mindedness, which ideally should not have happened. But I suppose it's a statement on the state of relations between India and Pakistan.
Right, and Ahmed, the 11 prisoners that India has been demanding should be released even after their jail sentence has been completed. Do we expect any forward movement from Pakistan on that front? Because even in those cases, it's been reluctant to share any concrete information on the charges placed on those prisoners.
You can't really say what's going to happen to those prisoners, but I do want to make a point that whenever I'm listening to the news in Pakistan, the facts and figures are about the Pakistani prisoners in India. And I was listening to your news feed and it talked about Indian prisoners in Pakistan, which there are, including a lot of innocent fishermen. But then I wonder why we can't talk about, from an unbiased point of view, both Pakistani and Indian human beings suffering on each side of the border for reasons that we have animosity and hatred, state level animosity and hatred against each other. And people like Hamid Ansari will keep on suffering. I mean, Hamid Ansari did something which was ridiculously dangerous. I've been to India once as a part of our journalist delegation, and India doesn't allow us to go to more than one city unless, we get a visa for each city. And a lot of my friends said, just come to Mumbai, no one's going to find out, just come and go back in a day. And no way anybody would take that risk. So having a fake ID for Pakistan is really asking for trouble as far as Hamid Ansari is concerned. And I hope there will be times when people making such mistakes, will be just given a slap on the wrist. Till then, I think the citizens have to be extra careful not to be in the clutches of either country.
In this case specifically, if you're talking about the manner in which the case progressed in Pakistan, why was a civilian tried in a military court? Why was there so much a lack of transparency in the charges that were placed on Ansari?
Anything to do with espionage and terrorism is now, most of it is. I have my reservations against the military courts, but most of it goes to the military courts. Military courts are not as open as civil courts are. Military courts are a little, they expedite cases. Trust me, 3 years is an expedited case. So Pakistan has a dual judicial system thanks to the military courts. And it's no surprise that cases like these would go to the military court rather than the civilian courts.
But you're saying that you do have those reservations vis-a-vis the proceedings in military courts. Sushant Sareen wants to come in here. Sushant, go ahead.
No, I think Emmer is quite right on both counts. Number one, the military courts, I think some of the cases go to the military courts because there's no evidence. I can understand those cases being sent to military courts if it is a spy, a saboteur, a terrorist. But, anybody interrogating somebody like Ansari would have found out that he was stupid, not a spy. And I keep repeating it because this is really the epitome of stupidity, what he did. And Ahmed is right on the second count that a lot of people do this out of bravado, out of sheer ignorance. And I know of many of my Indian friends who assume that because they've got a visa to Pakistan, they can just pick up their car and drive across the border. It doesn't work like that. I also know of number of cases of Indians in Pakistan and Pakistanis in India who think that the relationship is like going to America. You get a visa for America. You can travel anywhere in the US and no questions are asked. But in India and Pakistan, it is a city-specific visa. Now, people think that because you've gone to Islamabad, you can hop across to Murree, stay a night or two in the hill station and come back. Or if you've got a visa to Lahore, why can't you just go across to maybe Nankana Sahib or some other place and either for religious reasons or for seeing your ancestral home? It doesn't happen. You are violating your visa and you can be in deep trouble because you've done something like that. But it is sheer ignorance on one side, and I blame my Punjabi brethren for this, that there's this larger than life kind of a image which they have about themselves, that they can flout laws, that the law is an ass, that the state is an ass, the state doesn't know what the hell's happening, and that you can do things with Indians in Pakistan and Pakistanis in India without anybody being wiser for it. It doesn't work like that. And if you get caught, you are in a lot of trouble. But in the case of Ansari, I think after they had found out that he was not indulging in anything nefarious, after having kept him in custody for 3 years, they could have released him.
For the last 6 years, it's been a long-drawn battle and an ordeal, of course, coming to an end. And India has made every concerted effort to ensure that Ansari walks back home. We're going to leave it there for the moment. Sushant Sareen and Ahmed Shaheen, appreciate very much you joining us on the broadcast with those perspectives.